Hello, everybody. This is G. Welcome back to Allastrology, where we're going to discuss the week of September 2nd. So, before we get into the video for the following 7 days, it is important to note that September 2nd, on September 2nd, keep that in mind. I'm not going to go over that in this video. I'll just point to where it is. I'll point to the sign that it's in. But I'm not going to take a deep dive because there's already a video out for that. So I'll attach that video below, the link for it. We're going to start off with, here's Mars. You see Mars? Yeah. Mars is in Gemini. It's about to leave Gemini. I think Mars, it has such unpredictable, sometimes, energetic bursts that 28 degrees is extreme for me with Mars energy. And I say unpredictable because of the angle that air makes to the other air signs. And we know one of the other air signs is Aquarius energy. So Aquarius is the unpredictable energy. And we got something there, 27, right? So Mars and Hermes have been trining each other that whole weekend. So that can add a little bit of a spicy, unpredictable, almost like a lightning bolt, shake up, awakener, Big Ben alarm clock going off like, holy shit, I was sleeping. And all of a sudden there was like this loud clang, 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 clanging noise and it wakes you up out of your slumber type of thing. So Aquarius energy is social things, social concerns, social causes. It's big energy in terms of it being global, but group energy. So we usually think about like civil liberties, things that happen and that affect civilizations and large swaths of society. You follow? Because it's Aquarius. And so we kind of call this also the sign of the inventor and inventions. So we think tech and technology and airlines and we think of inventions in our home that affect us, that everybody may own, and we think of like air conditioning and heating and their units, right? They're complex units, complex technology that is here to, in some way, better our lives, right? Having air conditioning, having heating in the winter instead of having to go outside and chop down trees and create heat ourselves. There's something there. It's convenience and it speeds other aspects of our lives up. Aquarius energy, yeah, very fast. It's electrical, it's digital, it's lightning bolt energy. Okay. Alternative forms of energy, Aquarius energy. So Mars trining, right? It gets a trine, which means it's very compatible. And so for that electrifying type of Aquarius energy coming through, information from higher up, even possibly. When I say higher up, kind of like that divine aha scientist in the laboratory light bulb moment. I've got it. All of a sudden it makes sense and they understand it. It's like those divine downloads, inspirations, information comes through, but we know how to apply it. And that's what Aquarius energy is really good at, because it's the science. And it says we've tested and tested and tested. And, nothing is 100%, right? Nothing is 100%, but we've done the test and 99.9% times it was this, whatever that is. Okay. So the Aquarius energy and the inventions and Mars is action. Mars in Gemini can be about talking and communication and thinking, but a big part of this is, the internet and social media and sales and the markets, global markets and the housing market, right? Financial markets, but also the housing market and real estate. And then those bigger systems connected to it, we think banking connected to that and interest rates, right? Everybody's been talking about it, basically waiting. When is the United States going to make a move on those interest rates, which here we are in September. And I would be shocked if it doesn't happen in September, because the astrology has been pinpointing that there will be a change in September for the last few months. Okay. So action and taking action, somebody in charge. Somebody in charge. Let's see in the chart. Can we see, is there somebody in charge? What planets represent somebody in charge? Normally, the sun is somebody in charge. Well, we know Monday there was a new moon, sun and moon together, right? An authority figure, a plan, something changing about the future. And then what else do we have here? We got Uranus at 27 degrees. And so if we've been paying attention to the astrology videos, we know that on September 1st, the day before this, we know that this planet, the Great Awakener, Uranus, yes, it rules Aquarius. It stood still and then started to go retrograde at 27:15. So here we are in the second. It's in retrograde motion, but it's still at 27:15 because it's moving real slow. So an authority figure speaks up, stands out, shakes us up in some way, or we're surprised in some way. Again, inventions can be part of this too. And when I say an authority figure, this can be your boss, the CEO of a corporation. This could be a parent in your life, a mom or dad, so whoever is an authority of your life. Maybe you're the authority of your own life, and maybe you act out in some sort of a rebellious type of way, or maybe you are the boss at a job, and maybe you have to give some news, share some news, or make a decision at your job. It has to do with values because it's in Taurus energy, money, my money in the bank, information, news and information. Because remember, Mercury rules the new moon on this day, but Mercury is a big factor this whole week and has been for the summer because of Mars and Jupiter in Gemini. And Mercury not only rules Virgo, but it rules Gemini as well. You see, so Mercury's a big deal this week in a lot of ways. Okay. Mars at 28 means Mars is going to be moving, transiting into a new sign. Okay. So for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, that would mean the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th, Mars is at the critical degrees. It's at 28 and 29 degrees. All right. By later in the day on Wednesday, by the way, I'm in the central time zone, so just for wherever you live. Later in the day, Mars will then be at 29 and then move to Cancer energy at 0 degrees. So Cancer energy is also extreme at 0 degrees. Any numbers, right, or any sign is extreme when it's at 0 or 29. So regardless of what sign a planet moves in, is in, either at 29 or 0 degrees makes it extreme energy because they're just super intense. So remember, Mars is our physical body and the actions that we take. The Wednesday, late in the day, you get Mars then moving into the sign of Cancer. Now, Gemini was the markets and the money, and it does include homes and the housing market, but the market around where you live in the economy, your little microeconomy, your neighborhood, how are those businesses doing, right? And then Mars going into Cancer. Well, Cancer is also homes, more specifically homes, and my house that I live in, the sticks and the bricks, or whatever you call home. It's also mom and nurturing and feelings and emotions, and it does represent the public. So this week, the moon is kind of pronounced this week for the fact that we had a new moon this week, right? We had a new moon, but then we have Mars entering the sign of Cancer. So Cancer energy, feelings and emotions and empathy, and the sways of the public, how is the public feeling? Public sentiment, what's going on with the public? And Mars being there, boy, I tell you, Mars can inflame, right? Because Cancer energy is water. So Mars, Cancer, water, and feelings and emotions, and Mars being kind of like the lighter fluid in a way, being that matchstick and putting a flame to those twigs, like that's Mars energy. So it can create bubbling water. It can create boiling water even. So the public, probably our emotions getting a little heightened, and so much about the past and history, our culture, our ancestry. Where did we come from? Where's the homeland? My ancestry and grandma, mom's side of the family, right? That lineage. Like this is all Cancer. So many times we pine for the past. And then with Mars there, we might even take actions. We want to be around people who we vibe with more, people who align more with what resonates deeply with us. So the emotional waters, Cancer being cardinal energy, and this is family, okay? Family and mom and the mother wound, okay? And the wounds of the past, for sure. Because it's cardinal, we have to look at the other cardinal signs, all right? The other cardinal signs are Libra and Aries. Okay. Libra and Aries are the squares, meaning stress and tension to Cancer energy. So for this week, so we got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 5 days. Mars will sit between 0 to 5 degrees of Cancer, even 6 degrees of Cancer by the end of this week. I'm sorry, by the beginning of next week. If you have something at 6 degrees in Cancer, you're already feeling Mars squaring. If you have something in Libra or if you have something in Aries, you're feeling the Mars angle. You're feeling that stress and that tension from Mars. Okay? So that's like the first 6 degrees of the cardinal signs. And the opposition would be Capricorn energy. The opposition is Capricorn because it's at the opposite of Cancer. Okay? Capricorn is my work, my home, my work, my goals, my job, my career. Some of you may work from home, but it's what you're doing to create long-term financial security, tangible financial security, right? I go to the job, the job, so that I can get my home, right? And so that's the Capricorn goals. Material and tangible security. It's very serious energy. It's all about duty and responsibility. Okay. Very serious stuff. Opposition, they call it like a tug of war or push pull because there's a lot of strong energy down here in Cancer and a lot of strong energy up here in Capricorn. Well, one thing I'm going to say is that Capricorn is the boss. Okay. Mars is not boss energy. Mars is, for lack of a better word, we'll just say Mars is the soldier and it's the one who's waiting for their orders. So basically, for your Mars energy in your life, if you don't give your Mars orders, then you allow it to do whatever the hell it wants. And sometimes I kind of compare that energy to, have you ever had a dog? And even a cat, of course, it's a little bit more delicate with a cat because they're a lot more like human beings. But, dogs are more, they'll just take a command type of thing, depending upon your pet and the breed and all that and some other things. But dogs, you have to show them who the leader is. You got to be the leader of the pack, right? And that's Mars. If Mars sees that there is nobody being the leader of the pack, then Mars will step up and be the leader, right? Now, Mars energy, its job when it's grown up is to be the leader, but it's always waiting to take over. It's always waiting to see a weakness in somebody else and to be like, I got this now. And it may not be ready for that position. You follow? So Mars is we usually see the more beautiful and more inspiring side of Mars's energy once it's older and it matures. So Mars energy, it's the fine wine. You got to wait for it to grow up and for it to mature. So that's Mars changing into a new sign. Venus is in Libra energy. And so through the next 7 days of this chart, Venus goes to 13 degrees of Libra energy. Now, what's important to know is that this is cardinal. Libra is cardinal. Well, so is this. You see, they're both cardinal, right? So that creates like a square between Venus and Mars, or does it? You see, Venus and Mars move at different rates of speed. So Venus is already at 13 in 7 days' time. Well, when this week begins, Venus begins at 5 degrees. So Venus and Mars aren't technically going to square, even though Venus is in cardinal Libra energy, you see. But Venus is conjunct the South Node right at the beginning of the week. She's at 5, right there. She's at 5. And then, of course, Black Moon Lilith is there. And then there's the South Node. Oh my gosh, right? So Venus goes forward. These will be conjunct. And then Venus will get to Juno, partnership energy, marriage energy. This has Juno is feminine energy. This is the wife of Jupiter, Juno. So strong feminine energy. Well, Venus is also feminine energy, right? So there's something here. Once this release and this let go with the values and partnerships, business partnerships, but also marriage partnerships. This can be lawyer partnerships and law. Professional relationships definitely being terminated. Venus is moving through the cardinal energy and she'll get to 13, which means she'll be in an opposition to Aries energy. Okay. And the bigger story with that opposition is that Juno and Venus together will be opposing the Jupiter Pluto midpoint here. Do you see this? This midpoint isn't especially fast. It's been sitting here for a little bit of time already, right? Because it's Jupiter and Pluto. Pluto moves exceptionally slow, even though it's retrograding, but it's at 9 degrees. We saw Juno at 8. And so Venus catches up. Venus already hit 7 degrees on Wednesday. She just gets past the South Node. We know that on Wednesday, that's when Mars entered the sign of Cancer, like late in the day on Wednesday. So you have Venus, money and finances, and Mars entering Cancer. There's a lot of stuff here about the housing market, a lot of stuff about business in general, and Jupiter and Pluto. Jupiter and Pluto. So Jupiter and Pluto midpoint means that there is an expansiveness, possibly exaggerations, possibly beliefs and truth, but somebody who can be in charge because it's Jupiter. This can be Supreme Court. This can be in the courtroom. Power, Pluto, intense power. Something's changing. And it's across from Aries, and Aries is about freedoms and rights. Okay. It's action energy because Mars rules it. But it's to do something deeply powerful, something that's meaningful. It's not going to be something trivial. Okay. So what we're saying then is there going to be a square? Well, there is a square. And it's a mess on this chart. So let me go back to your other chart. So we can say an orb of like 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees. Yeah, we can even say that because this point right here where those nodes are and the Jupiter Pluto thing, this makes it where big powerful things can happen. Aries energy, remember Mars rules it, and the square to that is this. There's two objects here. We have Cupido and we have Ceres. Ceres is food, right? It's how we feel nurtured. And it's our long-term financial security because it's Ceres in Capricorn. Ceres has been in Capricorn for a long time. You know, we've been thinking about our long-term security, our job, our goals, and, our boss even, right? Thinking about the people who are in charge, who will lead us. Do we have someone who has integrity, someone who will obey the rules, right? And corporations, by the way, big business and corporations are a huge part of Capricorn energy. Okay. So it comes down to, how can these rules be just for me, right? Capricorn and the corporations and politicians, people who are in positions of power, have to also be held accountable. You see the T square now, right? You see how strong that is. And it's Libra energy, 7 to 10 degrees of Libra, 7 to 10 degrees of Capricorn, and 7 to 10 degrees of Aries. Okay, so that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We next go to Mercury. Now, here's the thing with Mercury. All right, here we are in this chart. We see Mercury down here, 23 degrees. So the retrograde is over because the numbers are in black. Mercury stopped at 21 and went forward, right? That's where the retrograde ended at 21. So now Mercury is headed back to 4 degrees. I've got people who will ask questions like, I might have to make decisions and some choices. Remember, Mercury retrogrades are when we are researching. It's when we're taking in information. For me, from what I've observed, my charts and other people's charts, we're still waiting. We don't want to make a decision until Mercury gets back to the point of where she began her retrograde, 4 degrees of Virgo. Well, Mercury's not there yet, and she doesn't get there this week. By Sunday, Mercury gets to 0 degrees of Virgo. Okay? So keep this in mind. If you have a big decision to make, you're getting quotes, you're talking to people, you might have to hire a professional. If you're pressed for time, like you have a deadline, you might have to get a professional opinion. It might be a good idea Talk to people that you know you can trust, people who are going to help you to sort through the details. Now, the next part, the next thing we're going to look at is Black Moon Lilith. There's Lilith at 4 degrees. When we get to the 9th and the 10th, Lilith is already sitting in here at Libra. She's already sitting over here at 17 in cardinal energy. This is where things start to get interesting again, okay? Because we know Lilith can throw a monkey wrench into things. We know she's a fast mover, okay? We know that she can sometimes be be the source of something unexpected happening, because when she's there, it can be a surprise, something we didn't anticipate. We get further into the week and Lilith ends up at 17. Now, that's on Sunday and Monday, okay? But what about 15 degrees? What about 15? And why 15? Because we're already experiencing a lot of stuff at 15 degrees in this chart, right? We started talking about Vega and Saturn at 15 and 16 degrees. Okay, so Black Moon Lilith is going to square Vega. Black Moon Lilith is going to square Vega, and that means there's a little bit of stress and tension there. That's cardinal energy. So if you have something in Cancer at 15, which we do in this chart, by the way, we have Sirius. She sits here. It's actually Sirius, Sirius. It's a fixed star, doesn't move. So Black Moon Lilith, remember, this is homes, this is feelings, this is emotions. And remember, Cancer energy is the public. It does represent women in general, but ancestry and culture and history, my nationality, where are my people from? Where's the motherland country, and my home, literally where I live. Okay. Black Moon Lilith is going to be in a strong T-square with Vega and Sirius. And we're probably going to start feeling that Thursday, Friday. Okay. By Saturday, she's already moved on. Well, Sunday, she's at 16 degrees. By Sunday, she's at 16. And by Monday, she's at 17. Okay. I want you to see all the stable and strong energy that we have in Earth. Starting with Taurus, we have these midpoints in Taurus energy. We have a Jupiter and Saturn midpoint, stability, building for the long term, and our values and banking. We have Jupiter and Neptune, all in Taurus. Okay, very idealistic energy. Jupiter and Neptune has to do with beliefs, what we believe about our future. We also have Hygeia at 5. So that's the first 5 degrees of Taurus. All right, really stable energy. And we look over at Capricorn, and Cupido is still sitting at 6, and Ceres is still going to be sitting at 7, because neither of those move fast. You may have something in the lower degrees of Capricorn. Okay, so that can create a trine energy in Earth, which is stable. And then, of course, Virgo has some stuff here between 0 and 5 degrees. We've got a lot going on here because Mercury will be traveling, right? Mercury gets back to 0 by Sunday, right? Mercury literally, like, I think Sunday 29, I should say. Let me back that up. Mercury is at 29 on Sunday, 29 in Leo. So what we'll put down here is by Monday, Mercury is 0 degrees Earth. She's back to 0 degrees, and that'll be in Virgo. So that gives us, an outlook of there can be some definite stress and tension for some of us, which just means we got to learn to get along. We got to understand it's stressful because it's just up in the sky stressful. There can still be a strong energy for communicating and compromise because of Venus. Even though Venus is going through a big release and will experience a conjunction with Black Moon Lilith, Black Moon moves kind of fast. She shoots from 4 to 17. So Venus doesn't move that fast. 13 degrees is where Venus will be, okay, in Libra energy. So with that said, we're looking at the ability to still be able to talk and relate and communicate. We can still use our voice, and we can still focus on Venus's energy of compromise because she's in Libra. And Libra wants to do a little bit of this and do a little bit of that. And as someone once said, to be this bridge that you see here. It's where we can meet in the middle, where we can build the bridge. Want to be able to see what our path forward is going to look like. And so we may have to make some compromises. And Venus in Libra in relationships, significant one-on-one relationships, after this big release and let go, she meets up with Juno. Of course, you got to wait for Lilith to get the hell out of there. So Lilith gets the hell out of there. Once Thursday has passed, Lilith moves on and gets out of Venus and Juno's hair. And when Venus and Juno have time to sit down and talk, they can figure something out. They can be the adults in the room. And that is Capricorn energy. It's the adults at the table having a conversation. And that is a big part of, I feel, at least definitely for us in the States, where there's so much stuff that goes on with the news and in social media, and people being enamored, whether it's with themselves and oh my God, I got this many likes or this many views or whatever it is. That's such a Mars thing. It's very it's very ego building. And that's not stuff that will work out for the long term. And it absolutely is not what is going to work out for the long term for all involved. We need stuff that's for humanity. How do we get by as a civilization? How do we get by as the human race? And air energy, Libra, Venus is in Libra. So it talks to Aquarius and it talks to Gemini. We're seeing the precursor for the following week when Venus will get beyond 13 degrees. And that matters because then Venus will start talking to Jupiter. Venus will start having a conversation with Jupiter. And that is where we'll pick up in the next week's video. All right, we're all done. I hope you enjoyed this. I want you to know that I appreciate your time, and I will see you somewhere. I don't know where I am, but I'll see you in the next one. All right, take care. Bye-bye.